We're live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the International Commission for Human Rights and Religious Freedom monthly Speaking Up series oration. My name is Dr. Adityanji, and I will be introducing the topic as well as the speaker. I'm having some difficulty with my presentation. Somehow it's not moving. So let's see. Let me share it again. Okay. Still not moving. So we have a speaker today. Her name is Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari. She is a dentist, essentially from Iran, but she has been in US, and she will be speaking about the human rights violation in Iran. A little bit about the ICHRRF, International Commission for Human Rights and Religious Freedom, is a US-based nonprofit, and we focus on the marginalized communities all over the world. So this is the logo we have for ICHRRF. We are focused on educational, research, legal, and human rights advocacy and for charitable purposes, and we try to be advocate for those marginalized groups for whom nobody speaks about. We believe that humankind can no longer afford to be selectively vocal about only a specific set of people. A humane and just world necessitates fair treatment of all living beings. So we tend to be here as the voice of the voiceless. Some of our initiatives include monitoring violations of the freedom and sanctity of the religious and philosophical minorities across the world, research into documentation of the culture, history, and challenges faced by such communities, policy recommendations to governments, non-government organizations on these issues, collaboration to support the cultural and philosophical diversity across the world. Here we have Professor Ved P. Nanda Memorial Fellowship Training Program, and we do pretty much so far annually an annual conference. The last one was in October of 2025 on atrocities on women. So the topic today is human rights violation in Iran, and our speaker is going to be Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari. She graduated from Belarusian Dental School in 1998, then pursued her dental practice in Iran and began her career as a dentist. Since year 2017, she has been actively involved in the US as a human rights advocate, focusing particularly on the quest for freedom in Iran, working along with advocates who share this vision. She has participated in numerous political and human rights organizations, coordinated Front of Fighters, of which she remains a member. She is also affiliated with the Fighting Doctors, an organization that operates internationally. She has organized multiple demonstrations in the state of Washington, where she lives, to protest against oppression by the Islamic regime in United States, in Iran. So just to bring you to the context, here is the map of Iran in the Middle East. It is a large country, actually, not a small country in Middle East. And this is showing the recent, actually, protests and kind of thing by people in that particular country. Iran has been criticized for its suppression the violation of rights of all its citizens, but specifically of minorities and women. Uh, Anyone who does not adhere to a strict code of conduct of Shia Islam in daily life is persecuted in that country. Minorities that are specifically targeted are Zoroastrians, Baha'is, and Christians. And if I may add, actually, the gender women as a specific, section that is persecuted. Iran is a especially interesting case because population is highly educated. It's a middle class society. It was a very prosperous country because of its natural gas and wealth, and it was a middle income society, and some of those advantages have been lost under the current regime. There was a recent surge in public protests against the regime, and these protests were put down with unprecedented brutality, with confirmed reports of massacre in thousands. The latest figure that is bandied about is around 32,000 people. So we are hosting Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari to speak on this larger issue of systemic human rights violation in Iran. And this tells you is not showing the faces, but these are three women. If you don't wear a hijab or a chador, you are liable to be prosecuted if you happen to be a woman. And women in large numbers are sort of, discarding their hijab or chador. So this is the motto we go by: speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, speak up and judge fairly. Some housekeeping rules: please mute yourself to avoid noise interference. Please change your cell phone to vibration mode. Do not interrupt our distinguished speaker. At the end of the presentation, we will have questions and answers. All the questions are moderated through the chat function. Please ask very precise and short questions. Don't give lengthy monologues, almost like a lecture. This event is being recorded. It will be available on our YouTube channel or our website within the next 24 hours. Those members of the audience who want a certificate of attendance can request Christina Kalasunas at ICHRRF.org. And we request our US-based audience members to donate and financially support ICHRRF. The link for donation is on our website, www.ichrrf.org. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari. But I must say, the story she is going to give is a sad story, so there's nothing pleasant about it. But we are lucky that she is willing to speak. She is willing to speak openly without fear of consequences. So we applaud that sense of fortitude on behalf of Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari. Dr. Bakhtiari, the platform is yours. You may start.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate that you give me this opportunity to speak about human rights violation in Iran. I'm sorry, what I'm gonna tell you maybe is not suitable for everyone due to extreme violation in Iran. It's challenging to find the right words to convey the severity of the horrifying actions perpetrated by this inhuman and oppressive regime. For 47 years, the terrorist government and supporter of global terrorists has unleashed the most brutal violence against the Iranian nation. From the very beginning of its disgraceful rule, when Khomeini began his first speech in the cemetery, known as Besh Zahra, he delivered his lies to the Iranian people about free water, electricity, democracy, and human dignity. From the very start, he established the foundation of this of his disgraceful regime in the place of death and the cemetery. All commanders and soldiers of the imperial army were put to death by firing squad, and there was no compassion shown even towards the ministers, including Minister of Education, Farrokhroo Parsa. During the disgraceful rule of Islamic Republic in Iran, the people have risen, revolt, and protest multiple times. The first time was after the students were thrown off the rooftop from the university by Ghalibaf, the current Speaker of the Parliament. Then in 2009, December 2017, and November 2019, which is known as the Bloody November, when more than 5,000 people were killed within less than a week. After that, in September 2021, it was known as Mahsa Revolution or Mahsa Movement, which again resulted in the murder of thousands, with many executed and many still imprisoned in the jails of this terrorist Islamic regime, living the worst conditions. The recent uprising marks a significant and widespread revolution both within Iran and beyond its borders. After suffering through the regime's severe oppression for 3 years, in the aftermath of the National Revolution, also known as Master Revolution, the people have now sparked this new wave of resistance. Over the past year alone, we have witnessed over 2,000 executions, and still citizens have to bear and have been left without access to water and electricity in the summer. In certain regions of Iran, temperatures soared above 40 degrees Celsius, yet the government chose to cut power for hours to mine Bitcoin, using them to finance their terrorist activities worldwide. This revolution began in the Tehran's Great Bazaar, and the people were fed up with so much oppression, tyranny, and inflation. This revolution quickly spread to the cities of Hamadan, Mashhad, Isfahan, Kermanshah, and all other parts of the country. People came out in almost every city and clearly chanted slogans for regime change, demanding the overthrow of this regime in all its forms and shapes. They also specifically and explicitly called for the return of Prince Reza Pahlavi and the return to monarchy throughout the cities and provinces of Iran. Millions of people in Iran took to the streets in all cities, chanting slogans such as, "This is the final battle, Pahlavi will return," and "Long live the Shah," and calling for the return of Prince Reza Pahlavi to take power. Even after the brutal and widespread repression in every corner of Iran during the 40-day memorial for the late victims of Iran, people continue to chant these slogans despite the heavy security atmosphere. On January 8, 7, and 9, as the prince made his announcement, the brutal regime backing Islamic terrorists across the globe took drastic measures. They severed internet access and, and also in several cities and almost all of the country. They even halted the power supplies. Multiple mobile phone services was disrupted, and amid the chaos, a horrific wave of violence erupted. Armed forces opened fire on civilians who gathered in the streets, unleashing a deadly assault with military grade weapons. While we were overseas, We were completely unaware of the tragic events unfolding in Iran due to extensive communication disruptions. It wasn't until several days later that news began to trickle in, leaving us in all disbelief. Within just a couple of days, I would say January 7, 8, and 9, 50,000 lives have been lost. I should say over 50,000 lives had been lost. And the current reports indicates even more. The majority of the victims were young, aged between 15 and 30. Nearly all of our family members in Iran are in deep sorrow and they are victims. And the magnitude of this atrocity is beyond what any person could imagine. Many were injured and the wounded were transferred to hospitals. The regime's agent attacked the hospital, executing the injured and committing mass murder. In one case, we learned that a little girl had been hospitalized due to a fracture caused by mischief in the days prior. And during the assault on the hospital there, they even executed that girl as well. There is a lot of instances. This is just one example of the brutality of this regime. Another girl, along with her mother, were in a car returning home when they were stopped. They were told to take a different street, and when they could not find an alternative route, they turned back to the street where they lived. The criminals shot the 8-year-old girl dead and took her body with them. They entered the houses where they suspected people had taken refuge and opened fire on them. All the instances I mentioned, the people were completely unarmed. They even attack people with knives and swords, and they are images that clearly show them decapitating individuals with knives in the streets. I personally saw one of the videos and saved it, which was shared on social media. One of these oppressors, with complete audacity and savagery, released a video of himself saying, I'm sorry, he was using a very bad word. You are right to think you can start a revolution. We will slaughter you on, on the orders of our leader Khamenei. I captured your daughters, and after beating them truly, I pulled out their nails and ripped out their hair and kill them. This regime has resorted to employing groups such as the terrorist organization Hashad al-Shabi in Iraq, the Fatimiyun in Afghanistan, and individuals from Pakistan to carry out attacks against defenseless civilians in Iran. There are reliable accounts of financial incentives, with payments reportedly reaching 10 million tomans for injuries inflicted and 30 million tomans for each life taken. More than 200 children, some as young as 2, have tragically lost their lives at the hands of this regime. In its reports, the government asserted that those who were killed had connection to terrorist organization and were in league with the US and Mossad. The extent of the violence and the sheer horror of these acts are unimaginable. Under the direct order of Khamenei and with the tacit approval of both conservative and reformist factions, the regime agents have executed this massacre and committed acts of genocide. Numerous credible documents reveal the regime's inhuman practices, including burying many injured individuals alive. Some hospital staff have reported that a significant number of the injured were either executed or confined alive in refrigerators designated for corpses. Their focus was on the head, heart, and reproductive organs. According to reliable report I possess, it was noted that on the 18th and 19 days, I mean 7 and 8 January, municipal vehicles in District 15 of Tehran were ordered to halt their activities and proceed to a specified location. The tracks complied, arriving at the site where a specialized vehicle meant for urban refuse were utilized to transport numerous bodies to a mass burial ground. The girls were initially subjected to horrific sexual violence before being murdered. It is important to highlight that this grave issue extends beyond girls, as boys have also fallen victim to such assaults. Presently, many individuals remain imprisoned across Iran, enduring extreme cold, lack of food, and torture, with some facing sexual violence as well. Prisoners are taken one by one to face executions, and officials have been reported on state television remarking on the high cost associated with their care, suggesting it would be more economical to eliminate them. These young girls and boys, each fighting for their lives, come from families who have dedicated themselves to their progress. Consider the promising young lives, lost, vibrant, talented individuals who embraced life, excellent in sport, pursued education, and yearned for freedom. In a video that has been broadcast, a mother is deeply saddened by the loss of her daughter and is crying and wailing. The daughter was an athlete and educated, having also won a championship medal. The mother of this girl was arrested for her crying and distress after being, raped. She was released, and the father of this girl committed suicide due to immense grief, but fortunately he was survived.
Please take a break. Please take a 30 seconds break.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you for this opportunity, because I want to be the voice of voiceless. Unfortunately, media is not covering us. Unfortunately, UNICEF yet say even one word. To hand over the deceased to their parents, they have been forced to pay for the ammunition, which is around $3,000 to $4,000. This means they have to cover the cost of killing their children in order to receive the bodies, or they must agree to have them buried in mass graves. The points I've raised highlight only a fraction of the atrocities and genocidal acts perpetuated against Iranians in the 21st century by the Islamic regime, a government that not only finances but also supplies human resources to its proxy terrorist groups across the globe. These include Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hashad al-Shabi in Iraq, Fatimiyun from Afghanistan, the Houthis in Yemen, and even factions in Africa. Despite the passage of 40 days since this tragedy, a crime against humanity, we, the Iranian people, are still awaiting a response from UNICEF and organization dedicated to protecting children's rights, as well as tangible actions to address this situation. We continue to look to the United Nations for action regarding this massacre and genocide. We remain hopeful that Human Rights Watch will step in to advocate for humanity and to stand against the backers of global terrorism, specifically the infamous Islamic regime, which is often regarded as the root of such terror. Thus, for all we have witnessed is the UN granting a platform to the Islamic Republic, allowing individuals who embody inhumanity and stand against the very essence of freedom to speak. It is shocking that someone like, unfortunately, I forgot the name, but she is coming to the UN to speak out about human rights, representing a regime characterized by the abuses I've outlined. She has been invited to the UN. What could they possibly convey in such a setting? This is an important question. We, I would say that we send a clear message to the US government and the President Trump. There are no better allies for Americans and the world than the people of Iran, alongside with Indians and Jewish people in Israel. With the people of Iran, I could not, I cannot find a correct word by the silence of those human rights advocates who once passionately rallied for Gaza, decrying the violations of human rights and horror of genocide. Many of these activists witnessed the harrowing events of October 7 when Hamas launched a devastating attack on Israel, resulting in the death of 1,200 individuals in just hours. In a striking turn of events, those who initiated this brutal assault have now positioned themselves as victims, while the innocent and peaceful citizens of Iran suffer under a regime that supports terrorism, losing their lives in silence. Where are the human rights organizations? Where is the media shedding light on the tragic plight of the Iranian people? At times, we feel an overwhelming sense of isolation, yet there is a silver lining. An ideological battle against the oppressive forces of Shia Islam is gaining momentum in Iran, and our nation, with its deep rooted history and rich civilization, is on the verge of an extraordinary renaissance that will not go unnoticed by the world. Moreover, we see similar atrocities unfolding in Bangladesh, where violent acts against Hindus are being perpetuated without mercy by extremists. In every country where these criminals operate, they strip the local population of their security and peace. While many Muslims stand in opposition to these heinous acts, it is clear that when religion intervenes with politics, it often leads to destruction. The board faces a critical choice. Will it continue to deal with the Persian Gulf countries for oil and gas, or will it prioritize those who genuinely seek peace, stability, and prosperity to foster thriving societies for future generations? The stewardship of our planet should be entrusted to those committed to building a better world. Thank you for the opportunity again for speaking up.
Thank you, Dr. Bakhtiari.
Thank you so
We
much.
understand the emotional state you are in while describing these atrocities to your loved ones. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. I will start with a question of my own. When the Islamic Revolution came to power in 1979, why did the people, okay, they didn't like Shah, but why did they allow a monster like Khomeini to take over without any protest or without any, reservation? He was welcome when he came from Paris.
Yes, very good question. Thank you so much. I would say that with the help of communists, specifically Soviet Union communists, they took the power, and Khomeini tricked them. He said that we're gonna organize a government together. We're gonna create a government together, but uh, eventually he tricked them, and many leftists were the helped uh, Khomeini to take power. And after the revolution happened, Khomeini executed them. Unfortunately, those leftists still are backing the Islamic regime. Not all of them, but some of them. They are brainwashed. This is a simple answer that I would say. And many were brainwashed by the media. Unfortunately, uh, media in the West um, created the atmosphere for this revolution happen.
Yes.
And this is unfortunate that we are facing that much atrocity in Iran for 47 years. And we are fighting. We are fighting to get back our country again.
There's a question from Mr. Clements. The question is, what has been the role of the merchant class in these protests, and whether their role is different this time as compared to the 2009-2010 protests?
Yes, it is very different. People clearly shouting and asking for return of Prince Reza Pahlavi to take power. This is the momentum for our people to bring back where they have been lost and brainwashed. Now the people of Iran realize that the only solution for our country uh, um, to 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 back in power and begin thriving is bringing back the Prince Reza Pahlavi, and specifically they want regime change in Iran. This is a very important point. In other instances, in 2009, they took to the street for their election for the election fraud, but eventually they wanted regime change, and in 2017 as well, and 2019 as well. First, they were about the inflation, and then uh, they wanted regime change. But this time we have a leader, and we trust our leader to take power.
So, women have been in the forefront of the current protests and they have been discarding the hijab and chadar. There are also reports that there's a lot of anger, not just towards the Islamic regime, but also the clerics. And a number of Iranians are now basically giving up on Islam and going back to Zoroastrianism. Do you have any comments on that?
Of course. As I told you earlier in my remarks, that the Renaissance is happening right in Iran. Uh, they are just giving up on Islam and turning to the Zoroastrian religion, or without any religion. Many people are not pursuing any religion. Uh, I will say, uh, I was a Muslim years ago, but now I consider Muslim myself. Uh, uh, without I'm not pursuing any religion, and Iranians are fed up with Islam because they saw under the Sharia law they are losing their lives, they are losing their life for what these clerics are telling them. So as you saw, I don't know if you saw or not, in after 40 days of this massacre, people in Iran are not reciting Quran for their loved ones, for the victims of their loved ones. They are dancing. They are on the graves yard. They are showing resistance, and they are showing that they are not pursuing Islam anymore. And this is the end of Islam in Iran. And I would say, if regime change happen in Iran, is gonna uh, spread in all of the world, because the root of Islam right now is in Iran. Believe it or not, they are, as I told you, they have many proxies. They want to just take over the West by their nuclear bomb. They are maybe this is another question you may ask, so I would just stop there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a question, there is a very, very sort of divided or contrasting response of the Islamic world. While the Islamic world eulogizes the Palestinian protesters, they have kept totally silent on the Iranian civil rights protesters. Do you see some sort of hypocrisy here on part of the Islamic world?
Of course, all of them are silent. In Turkey, Erdogan is backing to this Islamic regime. In Qatar, Hamas, Hezbollah, all of them, even some people in United States who are chanting against Israel and asking freedom for Gaza, they are keep uh, silent. They don't even say one word. We are wondering, where are those activists who are who were talking about Gaza? We haven't heard any words from them. So uh, they are afraid that they're gonna lose Islam for their narrative. That's why they keep silent, and they don't want to talk about genocide in Iran. Um, so this is a very important point and devastating. But eventually, Iranians people are, uh, I would say, is not just I'm from Iran. Those Iranian people who are brilliant and talented, educated, are going to take back our country, and Islam is going to be dead in Iran and worldwide, because this is not what people in the world wanting for their generations to come.
So, taking from the last question, we can understand the hypocrisy of the Islamic world in not supporting or not raising their voice for the situation of human rights protesters in Iran. What about the Western world? Pretty much all over the Western world, they have been basically sort of supporting the Palestinian protesters, whether that is justified or not, including the October 7th event. There was hardly any, outrage the way one would expect. But the Western world also keeps somewhat muted response to what is happening in Iran.
Yes, unfortunately, they think about their pockets, not the human rights. As I mentioned in my outlines, Qatar and Persian Gulf countries are sitting on the gas and oil, and West countries are depending on oil and gas, which is coming from those countries. That's why they keep silent, because they want to have business with them to provide them with gas and oil, uh, and also they want to have cheap oil from Iran. As you know, for over years, we have been sanctions that it is easy to get oil, very cheap oil from Iran than having a high price of oil after the revolution. But the question is that, are they aware of threat that Islamic regime impose on them with nuclear bomb? They are creating a nuclear bomb very fast, and I have evidence to show that why it's gonna be so fast. Let me tell you, 400 enriched uranium is inside Iran. They are searching for 400 kilogram uranium inside Iran, but they couldn't find it. It's still in their hands, and they are creating a bomb. Do you think that those people who are massacred and committed genocide inside Iran have mercy on other countries who were chanting for 47 years, death to America, death to Israel? Are they trustworthy? They have to choose between having oil and gas uh, for a cheap price temporarily, or having peace for the future of their children.
Do you have any information on the state of well being of Narges Mohammadi, the Iranian Nobel Prize, Peace Prize winner, who is currently in prison?
Uh, I'm sorry. I would say that Narges Mohammadi uh, is not our speaker. Um, Respectfully, I have to answer your question because we want to be clear. Narges Mohammadi went to prison multiple times, but every time he came back very fresh, manicure, pedicure, and everything. We have pictures of her going to prison and coming back in very good style, without hijab, and she was happy all the time. But as I told you, many Iranians, when they face the prison, it is not clear if they come back or not. Many executed in prisons. I'm sorry for her to be imprisoned, but there is a double standard. And I would say that uh, Nobel Committee cannot create a champion for us. This is on the hand of the people who can choose their champions. We have many Iranians that happen to be in prison, and still they are searching for voices, searching for justice for them. For example, Fatemeh Sepehri, she has been in prison for years. She lost her husband due to Iraq-Iran war, and she has open surgery in the prison, and we haven't heard for for, I would say, for many months from her. We don't know uh, how her condition is. So, yeah, thank you so much for asking that question.
I think one of the reasons the Islamic regime has sustained is because of support from China. Do you want to
Yes,
comment on that?
yes. Um, China, I would say China and Russia, they are allies to control that region. Uh, Unfortunately, West is not awake enough to understand that this is a plan for taking control of Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, as I'm 100% sure that you know, it is very important uh, route for whole world. Two-third of the uh, oil or gas, I have to see, and 1/3 of oil or gas is passing through that Strait of Hormuz. They have a plan to take over that route. So, and they are backing the regime, financing, sometimes financing them, sometimes providing personnel for them, providing resources for them to be in power. And eventually they want to overthrow the West. So this is very important point, again, to reconsider uh, and accept this regime change by the West for their future. This is very important.
When the Iranian people revolted in 2009, 2010 because of controversial victory of Ahmadinejad for the second time, President Barack Hussein Obama refused to intervene in the process. Do you think that was a mistake on part of United States? If they had intervened at that time, you would not have the Islamic regime anymore?
Of course, for multiple times they refuse to support Iranian people. Still, we are waiting for their support for Iranian people. Right now, I have no idea why this is they are delaying to Islamic regime, who are number one supporter of terrorism in whole world. Um, Unfortunately, I saw a video from Adam Smith in our state, the state of Washington. He's telling that this is wrong to let the President Trump attack military um, against Iran, against Islamic Republic of Iran. I want to ask him, how could you guarantee this regime doesn't have nuclear bomb and don't use against United States of America? They will do that. They infiltrate universities in United States of America. They invade already all the universities in the United States, according to the Islam narratives. They have many representatives in the Congress, like in Minnesota, and they took power in New York. How could you believe they would be silenced, they would be peaceful in future while they are having such a heinous act against Iranians? So this is very, very important, and we regret that still we are waiting for actions against Islamic Republic of Iran to liberate Iranians.
Iran has a very proud history and civilization. Iran is essentially a civilizational state. And what we see in the current protests is that people are giving up Shiite version of Islam and trying to go back to their pre-Islamic roots. Do you think it will be helpful for Raza Pahlavi to give a call to Iranian people to get rid of this system and go back to their glorious past of pre-Islamic state?
I would say since Iranians inside Iran have still have some belief in Islam, uh, Prince Reza Pahlavi doesn't want to address this issue regarding the religion. He's he was telling the truth. He was telling for 47 years in exile that he wants secular democratic Iran. He doesn't want any religion intervene in politics. That's his goal. He want to have a very peaceful, a liberated Iran in which everyone has the right to speak up. So this is his goal. So he doesn't want to mention that, but despite the fact he doesn't mention that, um, we see in many settings that he is referring to Cyrus the Great for Cyrus the Great and um, rich history of Iran and civilization in Iran. So I hope I could answer your question.
In any movement, there's always an inflection point. Khamenei is now 86 years old. If he were to die today, what will happen to the Islamic regime?
I would say that the collapse is going to be more possible uh, because if he dies, there is no one to just convey those uh, stupid uh, messages for their own sake. And many people are pro Khomeini, but still it is important to note that there are many clerks in Iran who was in a row to place um, their narrative when the Khamenei is gone. So still there is Rouhani, uh, a son of the Khamenei, who are in a row for just gaining momentum for taking power. But we need to know that Islamic regime of Iran, with all reformists and conservatives, should be gone. They don't have to uh, being in power because the world is in danger, whether Khamenei is alive or not. But definitely eliminating Khamenei is going to be helpful.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Dr. Homeira Bakhtiari, for very frank discussion as well as your lecture. We understand the pain of Iranian people. We wish you well. We wish Iranian people well, because what is happening is totally against any iota of human rights, especially the human rights of women, minorities, and the vulnerable sections of Iranian society. We wish you well in your quest for freedom in your country, which is a great country. And hope is that this protest becomes successful and overthrows a murderous regime that is ruling the Iran for last 45, 46 years. Thank you very much indeed for coming on our platform. And we are always open to you or your colleagues if they want to work with us. As we said in the beginning, we are the voice of the voiceless. And hopefully, by bringing you and people like you on this platform, we will be contributing to the demise of this murderous regime.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you and your organizations and all of the colleagues that you are working with for this opportunity to speak up about why human rights violation in Iran and regime change in Iran, which is very important. I have to say that right now in Iran is still this uprising going on in universities in Iran. Is still the students are chanting against Islamic regime and asking for returns of Prince Reza Pahlavi. So we are speechless for their bravery and courage. And also, last week we had over 2 million Iranian took to the streets all over the world, and we have about 5 million people abroad, but nearly half of them took to the street in all of the world and speak up and raise the awareness about Iran. So we really appreciate your um, um, your courage, and we really appreciate that you are the voice of voiceless and letting us to speak up when the media is ignoring us. This is very important, and we will never ever forget this opportunity and this momentum. Thank you so much.
Carl, would you have any message for our esteemed speaker today? Brief message.
I didn't have anything specifically prepared, but I just wanted to extend my support as well. And if there's anything you think we can do as an organization working with the Iranian diaspora here in the U.S. as well as in the Caucasus countries like Armenia or Georgia, please let us know, and I'd love to reach out to them and do anything I can to work with them to publish reports or papers. Thank you.
Dirk, would you like to say something? Last minute comment.
Well, Homeira, my greatest compassions to that kind of traumatized frequencies. They are challenging us worldwide. I have a colleague, he's a homeopathic, and he always have contact to people they are suffering in Iran. We do anything, anytime to help on this way to end the traumatized. And I'm strongly believe that this regime will end very soon. I give the tallest power to that thought. My deepest respect to your strong energy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep
Thank you
the
so
hope
much.
alive.
Thank you.
Keep the hope alive. There is going
We
to be
will.
change.
We will. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We know that India is going to be great ally for Iran, future Iran, and we will uh, create a better world for everyone. I truly believe that. And thank you so much for your support. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We are ending the session as we are running out of time. We will have recording of this session available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website, which we shall share with everyone. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a wonderful time. Thank you.